Welcome to Chalk Talk, an informal, informational talk show addressing the programs, issues, and people involved in the education of our children. I'm Beth Harwood, the moderator of Chalk Talk. This particular program has been designed as a vehicle for the Menomonee Falls School District to communicate information to the community. From the McGruffy reader to the Macintosh computer, education is a vital interest of all community members. Joining us from time to time will be the superintendent of Menomonee Falls Public Schools, Dr. James Shaw. Welcome, Jim.
Hello, Beth, and thank you for agreeing to host Chalk Talk.
Oh, you're quite welcome. The topic for this edition of Chalk Talk is the graduates, our success stories. We've invited several alumni from the Menomonee Falls. Good evening. That's the introduction for our very first show. This is our 40th edition of Chalk Talk. I'm Beth Harwood, the host of this particular edition, in which we're going to talk about why it is Chalk Talk has indeed been an available resource of information to you here in the community. Joining me as guests for this edition of Chalk Talk, in which we're going to discuss the cable access studio located here in the Menomonee Falls High School, are Paul Wickersberg, the current chairperson of the Cable Access Corporation, president of Server Products here in Menomonee Falls, and a resident of Menomonee Falls for 23 years. Paul is also a volunteer audio engineer, not only on Chalk Talk, but also on several other broadcast programs from this studio. Joining us also is Eric Kurtz, the general manager of Metro Vision, the cable company here in Menomonee Falls, and a resident of our community for the past 6 years. And joining us also for this edition is Tom Shannon, the media studies teacher here at the high school. He's been with the district for 2 years and currently is teaching 2 sections with a total of 42 students here in the district. Welcome. Let's begin by talking about cable access and Metro Vision and the Cable Access Corporation. Eric, could you tell us about that relationship between those organizations and the location of this studio here in the high school?
Well, Beth, this goes back to approximately 6 years ago when the village initially had Metro Vision locate the studio facilities in the Good Hope Road garage facility. And it really was not utilized to the fullest extent. And the village trustee at the time was Joe Greco, in charge of general government, and he began talking with MetroVision, the school district, as well as Paul, and we started talking about where would be an ideal place to locate the studio, because the village had a real need to reclaim the space
in the
garage, because they knew they had a short-term relocation need for the remodeling of the village hall, which has become a long-term need.
And so the location of the high school was decided upon?
Right. I think all the parties involved agreed that, you know, it makes sense to try to get a coalition or a partnership of the village, the school district, MetroVision, and the citizens, really. And everyone agreed that the best place to locate the new access studio was here at the high school, so it could be utilized for educational purposes by the students and the school district. It could be utilized by community groups as well as citizens.
Paul, could you tell us about the Cable Access Corporation?
We are a nonprofit corporation funded by money that comes from MetroVision. We get a percentage of their revenue, and we then use that money to operate the studio, buy cameras, equipment, pay people that work here, and the supplies we need. The village also takes some money from MetroVision and uses it for governing the cable system. But we use that money, and we work in cooperation with the school. We have a lease here in this room for, I believe, 10 or 15 years, and share the facilities with the school system then.
Well, what does the charter include with the Cable Access Corporation? What kind of programming, governance, what sort of charter is involved?
We are here to put on programs for the community. Anybody in the community can use this studio. If you have a program idea, you come to us and we help you put the program on. It's free, open to the public. The only condition is you're a resident of the cable service area.
All right, so this indeed is open to the residents here within the Menomonee Falls
That's right.
area.
Anybody that wants to use it, and we do not edit or censor programs except for good taste and things like that.
Okay. Tom, could you tell us a little bit about how the school has been using this cable access studio?
Sure. They started 3 years ago. They started a program called Media Studies, and there's actually 2 sections of it. The first section is called Media Studies 1, and it is a semester course, and it's just kind of an introduction to the media. We do a lot of things with the radio, we do things with television, newspaper, and obviously an emphasis on the television because of the equipment that's in here. So it's kind of get the kids an exposure to the media, and if there's an opportunity to improve their communication skills in whatever capacity, we try to work on that as well.
Okay. So the students have some hands-on opportunities with the studio located right here in the high school.
Oh, definitely. It's more, I consider it more of a lab class where you teach them how to use the equipment, and we try to utilize it as much as possible. Doing different productions that get kids in front of the camera as well as behind the camera, because you have a lot of kids that, you have 2 types of students. You have kids that do want to be behind and get their hands on, but you also have the people in front of the camera that want to improve their communication skills and kind of be, I guess, in the limelight a little bit. So, so it meets the needs of those 2 students, and it really has worked out pretty well.
Eric, how is this paid for? How is this equipment paid for? The lights, this set, the cameras? Where do those funds come from?
The initial construction costs of the facility or the improvement of what lies basically between the 4 walls was paid for by Metrovision when we renewed our franchise agreement with the Village of Menomonee Falls. At the same time, the Village, Metrovision, and the school district jointly negotiated the lease for the facility to ensure a long-term availability. The franchise agreement or the ordinance with the Village was revised to allow 2% of our gross revenues, which is part of the franchise fee, to pass directly to the Access Corporation. So that gives the Access Corporation approximately $40,000 a year to fund equipment purchases, replacement repairs, any of the salary expenses and insurance expenses that they need. So, and ultimately that money is coming from the cable customers. And just like any business, we charge a fee for our product, and part of that fee includes the franchise fee, and part of that franchise fee goes to the Access Corporation.
The cable access is important as we move on to that information highway. We don't want to be a lime green pacer driving along that highway. We'd like to be traveling at a pretty good speed, and having this resource here in the community to both share information as well as entertainment or a variety of other purposes is important. What other shows are being broadcast from this studio?
I'm very proud to say that we have quite a variety of shows compared to some other communities where their cable access amounts to a character generator with local news of the community. But we have done a country western program from here. We have done a band program from the school. We do village board meetings, school board meetings, Chalk Talk, of course. We do basketball games and football games in season. Quite a variety of programs. Voter Forum for the Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber is now putting on a monthly program explaining their function in the community.
Yes. So, and that does indeed, or those programs are more than other communities are offering? I
have never seen as fully used a channel for community programming as Menomonee Falls.
As Menomonee Falls. Well, good. And you've also got a program that airs, Tom.
Yeah, we put on a show that the kids put on for Media Studies 1. We do it as a last project of the semester. And the Media Studies 2, mainly the emphasis of that class is to put on a show called Indians Up Close. And it's like a news format show that broadcasts all the different stories that are going around the school district, in the high school as well as the school district. And the kids do all the reporting. They act as Indians Up Close reporters, and they also do all the filming. They do the host of it, and they do the editing of the show. So it's a pretty big project, and we put on 2 shows a month.
Okay. Let's say that someone from the Rotary or the Optimist Club or the American Association of University Women is watching this right now, and they're thinking, hey, I've got an idea for a show. What do they do, Paul?
They call us at 251-2866, leave a message, we get back to them, and we will prepare them teach them how to do a program. If they have a staff, a volunteer staff that can come in, we'll teach them how to run the cameras, how to work in the studio.
How long does
And,
that take?
you can do it in a night or two.
So we're talking just a few hours of training.
Just a few hours of training, and then those skills you get and keep in, you can use that over and over again. It took let's say 6 hours of training for the Chamber of Commerce people to get familiar with the studio, and now they routinely put out a program, and it gets easier all the time.
So how many people do they need in order to come to you and then get that training and then actually produce a television show?
An ideal staff for working in this studio, now mind you, it's not commercial television, but in this studio 5 or 6 people works very nicely, plus the talent on the stage.
Okay, so if an organization's got a core of 5 or 6 people who've got an idea that they would like to work with here in the studio, they ought to give you a call.
That's right.
What's
And if
that
they
phone
don't,
number again?
251-2688.
Okay.
If you don't have enough crew, we can dig up somebody to help. There are people that are always interested and ready to volunteer.
Well, and we've had a great volunteer crew here for Chalk Talk. We've advertised for more, but we certainly have had a real loyal group and a very technically expert group who've helped us out in our pursuit of sharing information.
Well, I think the program looks good.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Why don't we take a look around here and let's do just a brief tour of the studio where you can show us what it is that this studio includes, and then let's meet some of the other individuals who have been involved in the production of this program as well as other programs.
Okay. Well, basically, where we are right now is one big boxy room. That's all it is a room with a curtain around us. And we're up on a little stage, and above us is a lighting grid, and there are several dozen lights hanging from that grid, all shining down on us. Out there are 2 cameras that we're looking at, or are looking at us, and a studio monitor, and hello, Mike. And that's what we have out here in the studio. The real interesting part of our operation is up in the control room. It's kind of hard for us to see in there now because he has the lights out, and maybe our director is... Wake up, Harry. Are you there? Okay.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
You can communicate with him.
I can
What
communicate.
is he saying?
Yeah, he's saying now he's getting himself on screen. Just give us a moment here, and we're going to be seeing Harry in just a moment as he dazzles us with some of his graphics here. The person we're going to be seeing is the director of Chalk Talk, Harry Arthur Stetzel, who also is a professional videographer with Stetzel Video and a member of the Cable Access Board. And, there he is. Hi, Harry.
Can you hear me out
Hi.
there?
Yes.
Okay. What would you like to do? What would
Okay,
you like
I
to
see the picture there, Harry.
Can you look over
Harry
me?
has got a monitor behind him. That's our program monitor, and you see us all there. And in front of Harry is a switcher, and okay.
We're up in the
find it
control
there.
booth here.
Okay, and there's the switcher down on the left, and the tape recorder is there on the right. One is a playback recorder, one is a recorder. Right above everybody on that console is our satellite receiver. That's where the NASA programs come in. That's it, Harry. And up on top is the program preview monitor. Okay.
So an individual, a member of the community, would come in and get some training on how that operates.
That's right. It looks complicated, and it's really fairly simple. Well, some people wouldn't say that, but some others would.
Okay.
It's a fun job.
Okay. And this particular studio,
I know we're going to confuse you all night, Beth. This is like live TV.
It really is, yes.
And we haven't rehearsed any of this, but we just kind of wanted to give the idea that people, a lot of the equipment up here is very simple, and it's just a matter of pushing some buttons. It doesn't take much training. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. You know, I spend all day doing this type of thing and then turn around and come back here, and we really enjoy being part of this show.
And Harry, you're a volunteer on Chalk Talk, aren't you?
Right.
Yeah, you're doing this just because you happen to really get a kick out of it.
Well, actually, we decided to help the cable studio start the program, the school district start the program, and I have to tell you, with the people that got involved and with Bill Pierce's putting the show together and all the energy that was behind it, it was very infectious. It was easy to get involved, and I really didn't want to let it go. I really wanted to help, and the show has taken on quite a quality. Your personality has a lot to do with that, and I'm real proud of the show. We don't have an awful lot of a time to make the show ready for Channel 6. But I think for what we do on the Cable Access Studio, it's a great show.
As a volunteer effort, yeah, we've got some good quality going on, and I think in large part it has to do with your expertise as well as Paul Wickersberg's. And let me just mention who our camera people generally are for
Spin that
this.
around, get the camera guys.
We've got Dave Samborski, who I don't think we're going to be able to get on camera, and Dave is a pharmaceutical rep with Park Davis, also a volunteer here in the studio, and a rather new member of the Cable Access Board. And he's been a resident of Menomonee Falls for about 6 years. And let's see, who do we have? We've got Rob Bettle, who is a student here at the high school, and Rob is also the individual
You want to grab the mic?
individual responsible for the taping of many of our school board events, aren't you, Rob? Yeah, you coming around to talk to us here? Yeah. There he is. Hi, Rob. Hi. And you have been a volunteer on our crew as well here.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I get paid by the school board. I would
Yes.
still do it if I didn't get paid.
Okay. And another camera person on our crew is Michael Wickersberg, who's an alumna of our high school and has recently been hired as a studio technician by the Cable Access Board.
Yes, I have.
And in that capacity, what are you going to be doing, Michael?
Come again?
What are you going to be doing as the studio technician?
I will be taking care of the studio and the cameras. I will be trying to keep things in order around here with all the cables and all the microphones around here, all the videotape that people use. The place gets awfully messy, and so there has to be someone here that keeps this place in order.
Okay.
Cable studio and mess go together very well in one sentence. That's
Well, when
we
you
hope to
invite
organize it.
the members of the community in and to share space and to work together, yeah, you do. And then we've got students here and
Yeah.
using it as a lab, as you said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, then they tend to make a mess too. So
Yeah.
we needed to clean up after them as well.
Is there any abuse that can go on with the use of this medium? Anything that we need to be concerned with in terms of access or limiting access to this studio as a vehicle to communicate?
We have just a few rules as far as good taste go. We also do not want to use this as a commercial vehicle, so we do not allow commercials on this channel. Excuse me. And we do not allow political advertising per se, vote for me, but we do put on a voters forum.
Which is more informative or educational in its purpose.
That's right.
than-
So really, that's the only limitations we have, is that we want to keep it non-commercial.
Okay. Have we had any difficulties? Have we experienced any problems with the access, with community access?
I don't believe we have.
It's been pretty smooth so far.
Yeah.
Keep those fingers crossed. Yeah. In terms of MetroVision's role in this, how is it that they become involved in determining what's going to air, or how the studio is used, or what equipment is purchased?
Really, what we've been is a funding mechanism and a partner with the Access Board. And the board is a group of citizens, and they pretty much run the show. They represent the community standards, they represent the community tastes. MetroVision's only rules relative to the operation of the public access is that no obscenities go out on the cable television system. Beyond that, the Access Board sets the policies, they set the rules, obviously in accordance with the broad rules the school district has for use of any of their facilities as far as alcohol and tobacco and those things, but on the premises. But beyond that, we don't act as a censor, we don't act as an editor, and they essentially run the channel 24 hours a day and program it how they see fit.
Okay, so when we aren't airing one of the programs, either the airing of a school board meeting or the airing of the Indians Up Close program that the students are producing, or Chalk Talk, which airs every Wednesday evening, what's on that channel?
We are very fortunate to have a free channel on the satellite that we get down from United States government, the NASA channel. As we're recording this program, The astronauts are up in the shuttle, and those programs get to be quite interesting. We have, some people don't think so, but then some people call us and say, why isn't there more of that on? And we can't put it on all the time, but it is nice fill-in for us when we're not ready with another program.
Okay, all right. So we've got some backup there in case we can't fill all that
That's
time
right.
on the cable access.
That's right.
Yeah. Now we're number 3 on my cable at home, and so anytime we want to play a video, this particular channel comes up, and I think that's pretty advantageous. A nice place to be. How is it we get to be channel 3 here in Menomonee Falls?
Channel positioning is a very complicated and controversial issue.
I would think it would be kind of political in terms
Sure.
of who gets those lower numbers.
Well, the lower numbers in many cases are where the off-air broadcasters want to be, and they have certain rights to channel positions on our cable system that they can exercise under the must-carry statute, which is federal law that's also with regulations that have been adopted by the FCC. So channel positioning becomes a big issue for them because they feel it affects their ability to get ratings. And we're fortunate that Channel 3 was open. Some of you may remember when the access programming used to be on Channel 7, and the reason it was relocated down to 3 was because the off-air broadcaster that's now on 7 demanded that position.
And we were very cooperative and said we'd be quite happy to move. And when we did, Eric said, you move now, you will never have to move again in the future. So we're going to be stuck here on Channel 3 for many years.
So that's where people can find us. You're laughing, Eric.
I don't know that I said that, but we'll do everything in our power that we can. Fortunately, or unfortunately, the government mandates a lot of things on the cable industry lately, and channel positioning was one of them, and the privilege really was extended to the off-air broadcasters, but we haven't had anyone ask for Channel 3, so I think the Access Corporation is very safe. However, wherever we put them, we want it to be somewhere where people will find them, and I think 3 is a really good location just because most converter equipment and VCRs are generally set up to use Channel 3 if they're using it in conjunction with the cable system.
Okay.
So.
Tom, any future plans for use of this studio? Any programs that you've got in mind?
What we've been trying to do is we did purchase some new equipment in the last month or so, and we're trying to do more remotes. We do a lot of stuff inside the studio, but we've done a lot of boys basketball games, play-by-play. We do girls basketball games. Other activities around the school, we're planning on it because the equipment we have now is set up perfectly for those type of broadcasts. So we're looking to use it as much as we can and get the kids, the students, the experience that comes along with using this equipment.
Okay. And Paul, do you have any plans for future shows? Any ideas that you'd like to see individuals act on? And
I would like to see some organization or people come forward where we would have more local news, explanations of what's going on in village government and school boards and the community in general. If there's a street repair project, that we could keep the village people updated on it, as where detours are and what's happening. More of those shows would be interesting, I think.
so a local, like the Falls News, but on television.
Yes, exactly.
That kind of an
Exactly.
approach. Interesting. Good. Any of you out there that are interested in that, what was that phone number again, Paul?
251-2866.
Okay, good. All of us here in Chalk Talk are volunteers, including our producer, William Pierce, who has been instrumental in both determining what the topics are that we're going to be discussing on Chalk Talk, as well as who the guests are going to be. And Bill is not with us this evening, but he has been very much a part of this particular production all the way through, and we're very grateful for his involvement in this particular program. As I had mentioned before, this is the 40th show, and you were all here for that first one back in, what is it, November of 1993. It aired in December of 1993. We are now in the winter of 1995, and over this past year, we've gotten a little bit better at what we do, smoother at what we do, and we've got some room for improvement as well, but it has been an enjoyable experience.
As we upgrade the equipment, we can get better too.
Yeah,
So.
and with more experience, we can learn how to do this more effectively. positively as well. Yes. Well, thank you very much for joining us and sharing with us a little background on MetroVision, the Cable Access Corporation, the use of this studio, and we hope that this has provided some encouragement to other citizens to come forward and want to make use of this facility.
Well, this program was fun. I hope people come and join us.
Good. That concludes this edition of Chalk Talk, and we thank you for tuning in. Once again, give a phone call to the Cable Access Corporation if you've got a program that you'd like to discuss, the possibility of having it appear on air on Channel 3. Thanks for joining us. Thanks very much. Thank you.
The School District of Menomonee Falls cares about our children, and together with family and community, will provide the finest educational experience so each student becomes the best possible citizen. This program is a product of the School District of Menomonee Falls. It is produced by the district to better inform you, the citizens of our community, about your schools. If you have questions or suggestions for future programs, please write or call Chalk Talk, care of William Pierce, North 84, West 16579, Menomonee Avenue, Menomonee Falls, Wisconsin 53051. Phone number 255-8440. Volunteers are needed to assist in the production of this program. If you are interested, please contact William Pierce at 255-8440. We would like to thank all the volunteers and guests who make this show possible, especially those volunteers who donate their professional skills each week to quality programming.